The Metaphysician's Companion.
Hi everybody, it's Graham here. We're in for number 10 now, so it's just good, and I'd like to thank everybody who's following us up to now and any comments you've made to me directly or on the site on Spotify. And we'd like as many comments and suggestions you can come up with, because this is going to help us develop this podcast even more. Well, today,
Yes, Graham, I'm looking forward to it.
I've picked the subject.
And the subject is?
Do we have past lives?
Past lives.
Yeah, and if we have past lives, how do we access them? Or should we access them? These are all the questions that come up. And do they affect this life?
Yeah, well, I've not always been confident, like in this concept. Although I've limited experience. Could you elucidate more on what you mean?
For once, I've got one up on you. For once, I've got one up on you. Because I've actually experienced a past life directly, which is really interesting.
What was that? Just spontaneously, or
no? It was engineered. And what I'd like to say is, in my opinion, there's two ways to access. What's I'm looking for? Access past lives, and you have people who have, through hypnotherapy, a hypnotherapist will take them back and bring out these past lives. And you could argue this is something else in the mind working rather than the past lives, although a lot of people come back with so much detail, which can actually be shown and proved to be correct, that you have to question whether that is true or false or whatever. From my perspective, my experience of a past life was quite interesting. I think I might have mentioned that I used to, sort of, if you want a word, guru, I think it's the wrong word, but the person who helped me on this track.
Teacher, perhaps.
Teacher, yeah, that's probably a better word. Used to hold various classes in various things. And one particular evening, she decided that we were going to do past lives.
This is sort of a hypnotic regression?
No, it actually wasn't. It was a way of taking your mind into something else, and it wasn't done through hypnosis. It was done through it might have been semi-hypnotic.
Or a meditation, then, perhaps.
Yeah, meditation. But the difference is that I actually experienced the life.
Was that the intention?
Well, I don't know, but that's what happened to me. So,
okay.
I actually experienced this life I was in. And you can
in the past,
yeah, and it was a Roman centurion, which sounds whatever. And in the actual regression, let's use the word regression. I don't know if that's the right word or not.
You went back to it, so
we went back to it. Yeah,
in time,
I was standing on a rock with my sword in my hand, and I could look down. I looked down. I could see the sandals.
I believe that's a gladius.
Gladius, yeah. I could see the sandals I was wearing. It was quite really interesting. But I was there slaughtering all these people coming up to me. I was just killing one after another, and I thought, wow, this was really amazing. And the detail was so vivid. The people I was slaughtering, the way they were dressed even was there. Now, you could say that was historical memory from reading books or whatever.
Did you recognise the clothing or the equipment or anything in the...
Well, I only recognised what I was, the sword I was having, and it seemed like it was mine. I think that's the word I'm trying to get at. It was my sword. And I felt the determination of that person that you could say that I was, of doing the job and doing the duty, and it was a job. It wasn't nothing more than a job. I was there to kill these people. That was what I had to do. Mm-hmm. And there was this grit determination to survive, which I've never experienced, that survival feeling in my inner being. So I was surviving, killing these people and whatever, and I could see the people coming out, and I could see me knocking the spears back off my metal, whatever it was I was wearing on my chest, and all this stuff, whatever. So
breastplates, we say.
I was literally in this battle scene. Okay, so that was that. However, what was is really, really interesting was that when the teacher came and started to regress us back to our life, I didn't fully come back.
You did it to your
my own
to being Graham.
Yeah, my own consciousness, and I left there with this incredible, what's the word?
Ferocity, perhaps.
Ferocity and determination I've never felt in my life. It was like an anger that it was just not me. It was amazing, really. I think about it.
So did you? The thing that I imagine is you would be seeing the world differently.
Yeah. I was seeing it totally different. It was like the enemy was my world, and I had to get out there and basically slaughter everybody in a metaphorical sense. It wasn't actually I'd go out and then kill people. It's like this. Everybody was my enemy type of thing.
Yeah, I sort of get this impression of like solid determination, like the looking for danger around every corner.
Exactly. That was like it was I, and I could not shake this off. It was like it was still part of me. And this went on for at least 2 days, and I thought, I've got to get rid of this. So I rang up this teacher and said, can you help me? And she called me in, and we actually basically cleaned the process up, for one of the words. We actually went through and took this energy away from me again, so I didn't have it. But it was very real. I knew it wasn't me in this world.
You see, this brings to my mind that, one of the things, like I think I said, I have a bit of fear about reincarnation, but on the assumption that it is so, that people say, oh, I was Napoleon or whatever.
Sorry, I forgot to tell you that bit. I was.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I was what have you. And they are speaking from their personality, like today. And I'm going, no, it has, to me, if it's so, it's a spiritual, what underlies my personality is what is real. There's something intention to be here that turns into this character John in this world. And this intention was a different person in a previous existence. This is how I can understand it.
Yeah.
And what I hear you're saying is that you were this Roman soldier, and the Roman soldier had a personality of a Roman soldier.
Yeah.
And that when you took your intention back and inhabited a previous way of being, you brought that knowledge into the present and didn't really have the tools to separate the past personality from the present one. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and the actual process as the teacher used was actually about doing exactly that.
Yeah.
And for some reason it didn't work for me.
The when you came back the
first time, yeah.
I would suggest because that old personality was so strong in what it was.
Yeah.
I was going to say powerful, but it's not exactly. What I mean is it was intense and focused. The experience you're talking about, I could see, like in a dangerous situation like that, you would have to be focused on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Literally life depends on it.
And I realised I was standing on a high point. It's something that came in my head. So I was standing on a high point because it gave me the advantage of the people coming around me.
Yeah.
So it was hard for them to come behind me, but they were in front of me. That's why I was standing on the high point. So in a sense, I was protecting myself from being killed.
Yeah. Enemy is attacking.
Yeah. Anyway, that was my experience. But I've also read, of course, that people go through hypnotherapy, and then I'm wondering whether that is valid or not.
Well, there's another, false memory regression, etc.
Yeah.
I recall, like when I was in high school, in the last year of high school, I had a friend. He was Welsh, and he was telling me that his father and mother, like before he was born, had gone to Germany or Poland or somewhere. And he said they were in some town. Now, his family name was actually Polish, so I think his father must have had a Polish connection. And when he got there, he knew where everything was. There's a shop around the corner here.
Yeah.
And I've heard of this thing before as well.
But could that be genetic memory? Because they're talking today about that we actually can take over. We can bring in our genes now that we can actually hold past traumas of previous generations. Would that be a genetic thing, do you think?
Knowing where a shop is around the corner? I don't think so. Yeah, knowing.
Yeah, but the job might be different now.
Cultural orientation, yes.
Yeah.
I do think that that's a thing. I think that one of the things that I remember, just trying to remember the psychology report, but it's like the patience of a farmer is different to the patience of a hunter. And some cultures develop with the patience, there's two different patience.
Yeah.
One is over an extended period of time, waiting for crops to grow, and the other is waiting for the animal to come to drink water. Two very different things.
Yeah.
And the cultures that develop out of that kind of background are different. And I think it is, and at that level, I think it is genetic.
Okay. So do you think this guy was actually living up a previous incarnation of some sort?
The story I told, it's one explanation.
Yeah.
And it seems.
So the next question I think is what use is knowing this stuff to you? Because a lot of people, I've had people come in and ask me, can you take me back to a past life? And I always ask the question, why do you want to go back to it? There has to be a reason you want to go back to it. Is it you just want to know that you lived before as something? But then again, it's not you. It's that other incarnation. And then one has to ask them, well, okay, if we have multiple incarnations in various lives, who are we really?
Well, see, this is what I meant.
The big picture then comes out if you have multiple experiences of lives. I don't use the word lives. What is driving that?
Well, see, this is what I meant about. This is what I call spirit.
Yeah.
The intention to live.
Yeah.
And there's some sort of intention with me that when I come into this world and I interact with it, and I at centre form this personality, John, which I call I, when dealing with people in this world. And while actually acknowledging karma, that I quite possibly have brought predispositions from a previous life, all I can do, well, not all I can do, I think the most obvious thing from my perspective is to deal with the problems that present themselves to me here now.
I agree with that scenario, but on the other hand, one has to go and then ask the question. That is fine, but if there are multiple incarnations that one has lived, I'm using the word, asking it as a question rather than a statement here, because I know I can say I have, but why is that? What's the purpose of that?
I have no idea.
Exactly. This is the deeper question. So if one has experienced this, listeners, if you've ever experienced a past life in any form, we'd love to hear from you, because we'd like to try and get to the point what the purpose of that is. Well, is it beyond the now? And if now, what's beyond the now?
Oh, yeah. That's the mystery.
Well, we like deep questions on this program.
The mystery. Life. Life is life itself, death, But I like to think that self at centre, learns new things.
Right.
And this is why if I'm encountering a problem in this life here, that I cannot solve, then I need, that's the only reason that I would be looking for, sorry, I'm getting all caught up again here, trying to think too many things at once.
Well, because it's a multifaceted question, actually.
Well, there is.
There's a lot to think about.
Yeah. There is the problem that I am experiencing in this life and what caused it. Do I go back to working out what made me make the mistake that creates this problem? Or do I look at the problem that I have and find a way to solve it now? If acknowledging its origin in a past life helps, and all well and good.
Mm-hmm.
But to go back and one way of saying is, do I regress myself to being 5 years old and going to kindergarten to solve a problem in my life today?
Well, some people who do rebirthing and stuff would say that was actually appropriate.
To a certain extent, I agree.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. I mean, one of the things, for example, that when I'm doing some teaching, and I've written about it, is that I actually, it sounds ridiculous, I actually developed a system through meditation where you could go back and, what's the word I call it, find qualities and attributes from previous incarnations to help you in this life. And I developed this system, and I used to call it the bicycle wheel system.
Yeah.
And you go back, and it's a meditation process basically, and you take yourself back to your center of your own being, and then you ask the question, what do I need now to make my life better? What quality do I need, or what is something that I need more to keep my life going further forward? And I use this mainly for people for healing. For example, they wanted to do healing, and they didn't know didn't want it, so they were trying to find an ability to do it. And I used this process to do that, to take them back. So, and it actually worked. That was with the joke. Sorry, the joke. It actually worked. That system worked because I had people, not clients, but people in the course who had never done anything of this sort, and enabled them to then work with a healing energy that they never had a chance to do before.
So what would you say instead of going within yourself, that you actually model somebody from reality, or like our present day reality or history or whatever, like to look and find the qualities that, like I would find the qualities that I don't possess that I want to have in another person.
That's another thing, but this is like you're accessing another energy that belongs to you, for want of a better word, that is part of you. That's the difference between what you're saying and what I'm saying. And it sounds very far-fetched, but the only problem, again, is I've actually seen the results pan out. So I know, for example, when I was doing a healing course, people had no idea and didn't know what to do, and they were trying to put their hands on it. Because, we've been talking about how you actually had it actually naturally. Some people don't, and some people want it. So I use this process to help them get it. Now, you could say it's just imaginary, and it doesn't matter. The bottom line is they came back and were able to do it. The only argument I used to say to them is you've got to keep practicing it because you've only just got the essence of it. You've just been given by the universe, for want of a better word. You've been given this ability temporarily, and you can build on that if you wish.
Yeah.
That's gone well off the question, hasn't it? But still, it's all to do with do you have previous lives and whatever.
Yeah, like I have vague ideas, like of previous existence. Like I've always felt an affinity to Rome, like ancient Rome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
maybe I was fighting you. Maybe that's our connection.
Yeah, we were in the army together. But I do, it's sort of, I remember, it's like I don't quite remember marching in the legions of Rome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it was something to do with the way I was walking.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is familiar. And it was, had this Roman feel about it.
Yeah. It came back to you.
Yeah. But it's one of these things, it's like, did I imagine that? Or...
Because this is the other side of the coin. If you're talking to a psychologist or psychiatrist, they'd probably say it's all in your imagination or some depths of your mind somewhere else. Would I be right in saying that? You're the expert on this, I'm not.
Well, there's, I can create a way of understanding my experience. And that way of understanding my experience is the creation. And we do it all the time. Mm-hmm. And I say in the yoga idea, they have the idea of right knowledge, wrong knowledge, imagination. Yeah, but the point is that right knowledge is when I have a one-to-one correspondence with, the event.
Yeah,
and it doesn't necessarily mean that how I represent to it is not necessarily the event, but it's still true. It's a pretty complicated explanation there, but it's like it's a bit of a different way of looking at things to formal Western psychology.
So basically with this particular podcast, I think we've opened a Pandora's box of what is achievable and what could be achievable by if you like, being in possession of knowledge of your previous incarnations.
Yeah,
it could be useful tools, or it could be negative, depending on what your experiences were.
I believe that is a good assessment.
Yeah. So are we encouraging you to find your past lives? Yes and no. You do what you feel is right and is right for you at the time, and nothing more, nothing less. And it's got to come from within you that you feel as though this is a process you want to look at yourself.
Yeah, like curiosity is a great thing, and to investigate this. And I think the main advantage of actually recognizing that you really did live a past life is that you are a spirit, or whatever you want to call it. You are an entity that is real, that exists beyond death.
And and you're multifaceted, and not just that human being that's sitting in that chair right now, for example.
Yeah. All the what we call the human aspects, the personality, these are transitory phenomena. It mostly disappears once you've passed through death's door.
But then there's another question: what happens to that when you pass over? It's still an energy? So does it still exist?
Still is something, or a record, memory.
Just imagine where we can go with this, listeners. It's never ending. So.
I think I made a decision quite some time ago. Pretty much when I first started in this was, I will work with what's in front of me.
That's a good idea. Yeah. So if something comes up, you'll look at it and say, okay, this is interesting. I need to perhaps go down this path a bit further and just get some more information and knowledge on this.
Yeah.
Great thought.
Anyway, I think we shall return in another format.
Yeah, or something new next time. No idea what, but still. I hope that was interesting to you. And I keep on saying this, we'd love to get your comments and your feedback on this, and anything that's happened to you that may again enhance this conversation we're having, because the conversation here is not just about John and I, it's about you out there. We want you to join in. It's really important.
Oh, absolutely.
So please share this where you can. Very much appreciate those that already have done. As one of my friends has shared it with all her friends in South Africa, which is very nice of her. Thank you very much. And anybody else you want to share it with, it'd be great.
And the address, if you want to email us, is metphyscompanion@gmail.com. That is METBHYS, Metphys Companion, all one word, @gmail.com.
And if you wish, you can leave a comment actually on Spotify, and we're looking at trying to put it on other platforms for those who find Spotify a problem, don't want to be on Spotify or whatever. But anyway, we wish you the best, and
hope you join us on the next one.
Good day. Goodbye from me.
And from me.